Today on the Lost Soul Trader podcast, with me, Phil Stanley, I have Steve Gold joining me. Steve, what do you do?
Hi, Phil. Well, I am a sole trader and I sell promotional merchandise, which means I can supply people, companies, with products to advertise themselves, to put their company name perhaps on a printed pen or a t-shirt or a mug or an umbrella, etc., etc.
Excellent. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been doing that since 1991, but I've been a sole trader since beginning of last year, 2020.
And how are things now, post-pandemic?
Well, since autumn of 2020, I started. There was a time when I didn't sell anything. Then I was selling PPE just to keep me going, face masks and gloves and sanitizer. And then, but from the autumn of last year, things started picking up again, and I was selling more regular what is my bread and butter work. And so since then, I haven't been breaking any records, but I've been surviving pretty well. And now everything seems to be waking up as we speak. All the businesses are waking up and wanting to suddenly get promotional merchandise, and that's where the supply issues are coming in, the problems there.
Have you had to adapt your business model at all or change tack in some way?
Well, as a lot of the world knows now, quite a lot of work is done via the internet on Zoom. So I've been lots of Zoom meetings and meeting customers on Zoom, where I much prefer to meet them face to face. But it does mean that I have met people all over the UK over the last 18 months, and I've been able to pick up some customers through that. So in that way, it's changed. The other not so good way it's changed is that some of my bigger clients perhaps haven't quite come back yet, and I'm not sure whether they'll end up ordering the same amount as they used to. Hopefully they will, but it's still a bit early days to say that.
Is this because they're not doing as many events, they're not taking on as many staff? What do you think the reasons are?
Well, I think it is partly because people aren't. I may be wrong in this, but I think people are going out less and less and seeing each other. People working from home more than they used to, so there may be less interaction, human to human interaction in general business life, and so there may be less. I think there'll still be a need for promotional merchandise, or I hope so anyway, but possibly still in the short term, it may take a while to come back again, people ordering several thousands of this or several thousand of that.
When you were on your own initially, what was that like? Because you've been used to working with your family and then you had to start sole trading or being a limited company solely by yourself. How was that?
Well, partly because I was doing a different product to my brother, I tended to plough a lonely furrow anyway. And then from 2015, because we had to move premises, I started working from home anyway in my previous house. So for 6 years now, I've been working on my own, and I've been all the benefits of being at home, being near the fridge and the kettle and all those sorts of things. But because of the networking I do, I tend to meet lots of people, and so I do get my fix of meeting humans whenever I need it, really.
People who might be watching, who might be wanting to become a sole trader and start a little business, do you think it's tougher now, post-pandemic, or easier?
I don't know. I have to be frank with you that I didn't start from scratch. If I was starting a new business selling tents or light bulbs or something, then that'd be a different question I'd have to answer that in a different manner. But because I inherited an established business, I had all my customers there already.
Yep.
So there's no point in me trying and guess what it's like for other people, because that's not my experience. But I imagine it's tough for some people and not so bad for others, if that helps.
What advice would you give yourself if you were starting off?
There's a lot of people who sell what I do. There's lots of competition, nationally, locally. But I imagine that's the case in every business. And I've only learnt in the last year or two that I have to be who I am to try and win business. People will want to work with me because they know me and like me and trust me to come up with the goods and to give them a fair price and everything. They may not like the look of my face or whatever, but this is the only face I've got. This is the only voice I've got. So I've got to just be me, really. I think that's the bottom line. Just be yourself and build up your repertoire of clients and work with those people who like you and try and get referrals from that way.
So personal relationships are really important to your business.
That's another way of putting it, yeah. No, that's exactly what I meant.
Do you feel personal relationships in businesses have changed over the years? In a service industry such as yourself?
I don't know the answer to that one. I think there's been a relaxation of attitudes amongst people. It's less perhaps business-like, just the way what people wear. Obviously, in the world of Zoom we've experienced over the last year and a half, people are only sort of semi-dressed anyway. I've been in meetings, network meetings where people have been in bed. So people are far more relaxed in how they dress, and I suppose that will spill over into people meeting face to face. And that's just one aspect of it. I think people are more relaxed, more informal than they used to be, which I think largely is a good thing.
Okay, how do you see your business growing? Or do you see it sort of plateauing? I mean, everybody just wants to grow, don't they? Surely?
Well, I do. I want more business to come in. I want to make some more money. Thanks very much. But I'm very much at the end of my career. But I need to still work a few more years to pay for the mortgage and things I want to do with my wife and go on holiday and that sort of thing. Have a nice lifestyle. So it's difficult to know how that's going to happen because there's just me dealing with all the inquiries that come in, dealing with the suppliers, dealing with the customers, processing the orders, making sure it happens. When the customer phones up, they say, "Oh, can you change the colour of the pen? Can you send it to a different address than I told you?" It's all admin work, and so there's just me doing it. So to how I would grow the business, it's difficult to know unless I had some admin help, which I could get, I suppose.
Would you outsource it, or would you consider employing someone?
I think I would outsource it. I work from. It is literally a back bedroom that I work from. So there's no other space really. It's not as if I have an office that people could come and work in. So I think there's plenty of ways of doing that through outsourcing.
Are you motivated by what you do? Do you find it hard to be motivated? You seem quite a happy-go-lucky
Steve.
Happy-go-lucky Steve.
But
I know you work really hard with your clients and you take each brief really seriously and try and do the best job you can. But being honest, is it difficult sometimes to?
Yeah, of course it is. It's sometimes you get a nice, decent size order, you have to hardly do anything because it's maybe a repeat order. It's a one colour print. They've got the stock. They can meet the lead time. People don't really want it in a hurry, so you've got time to do it, and it's still easy. But that's one extreme. Then there's the ones that may have gone wrong, and you have to sort that out, or it's such a close deadline that you're dreading that the lorry isn't going to break down delivering the final leg of the journey. We printed them nicely. We've got all the artwork sorted out. They've been printed. They've been produced beautifully and in a nice way. They've been packaged up, and then something at the last minute can go wrong, and then I have no control over that. Has
that happened? Do you remember something going really wrong with an order?
There are times when things haven't turned up because they got lost in the system somewhere, and then you have to. Something I've learnt a long time ago is that you don't hide. You don't not take the customers' calls when they want to shout at you, because who else are they going to shout at? It's going to be me. So I'll always be open with people, and I think it pays off because if you are open and you try and resolve it, or you say, can you possibly take them next week? Is it, will you use them from a future event? And they often say, yes, we can, or I might offer them something, bit of a discount, bit of a sweetener. And I think that stands in good stead later on, because they will remember how you resolved it for them, rather than it was such an awful thing and they couldn't get hold of me and I didn't answer their phone call, and which sometimes may well happen.
What is the most interesting brief you've had from a client?
Well, early this year, someone asked me for personalised stethoscopes. That didn't come to anything, but I learned more about stethoscopes than I'd ever done before, which is good. I have a little product that I did many years ago for a big publishing company in Oxford, who wanted a disembodied finger represented as a PVC key fob. It was about this big, and it had a fingernail and scars on it, and because it was the book was about a teenage detective who didn't mind the more gruesome cases. So this is about as I said, a disembodied finger that had been chopped off, and it was made into a key fob.
What do you believe people are looking for when they say, I want a pen, I want an umbrella? Do they want something that represents their business? Do they want to represent a feeling that they might create in the customer when they're given it?
I like to think it's the latter. It's probably sometimes more the former. Sometimes people only seem to be interested in price. And I think that's where I need to do my job properly and try to talk about the service I'm offering, and not just the cheapest pen, but something maybe a bit more money there, spend a few more pence even maybe a small amount of increase, but I can come up with something a bit better. If they give me another 10p per pen to play for, instead of something that's 20p, if they give me 30 or 35p, I can give them a much bigger range of pens and some really nice ones. So to answer your question, it is often price. But as I said, I think I would like to encourage people to know that they're not just getting that from me, because there are lots of other people they could go to on the internet even and buy something cheaper than me, to be honest. But I'm not competing on price. I'm competing on the value I'm offering them, as not just the cost of the pen. It's more than that.
Excellent. Okay, we've got a few more minutes. I would like to ask you, what have you learned from being a sole trader who is successful, and what would you tell new sole traders like myself?
Well, our cliches, enjoy the ride, Phil.
Yeah.
But I won't say that. I don't know. I think you've got to find your niche, because there are other, as you know, there are other people who do videos services and photographic services, but I suppose you've got to find something that you'll feel comfortable with, an area that you like. Perhaps you might think you could make more money videoing waste recycling bins, but that you may prefer to video football, as I know that's an interest you have. So, well, I think doing what you like is a good thing. I'm not going to change the world by selling promotional merchandise, but someone has to do it, and if it's a way to make money and to make some nice things along the way, sometimes I can see a pen that I've supplied and I think, oh, that's really good, that's really nice. But there are other pens that I think, well, or mugs or whatever, that's a bit. But anyway, they liked it and they're happy, so that's my job's done.
Brilliant. How can people find you, Steve?
I'm normally quite a placid person. Oh, you mean? I mean, geographically?
Yes.
Or social media wise?
Yes, I'll ask that again.
Oh, is it going to make the cut? Make the edit?
Maybe. Thank you very much for talking to me today, Steve. How can people get in touch with you or find you on social media?
Okay, I think the preferred method, because it's quite a personal touch, is just phone me. my mobile number. I've always got my mobile with me. I work from home, so I never switch off. That's probably a bad thing, but that's my modus operandi. But I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn and whatever else there is, email. Or you can send me a letter, do what you want, and there ain't no mountain high enough or something.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming on.